Okay, well, we just come off kind of a difficult leg of a journey, um, making our way through the underground area under the temple. We had fought many different ambushes and incursions with Shatterkai and Shadows and other entities that were there. Rescued some of the halflings. Came back to rescue the last couple that were there after we had got Laura free. The At that point in time, uh, after we had got rid of Laura out of there, got the original set of halflings out of there, they came to find that y'all had done that, killed the last few halflings that were there, ambushed you at the entrance. You fought one of the head inquisitors, and then went in to fight in the actual barracks and lair that they had set up that had begun to start being taken over by the Shadowfell energy that was coming through the portal. The landscape, the area started to have this shimmering, glowing effect. That was this purplish hue. It started to infect the rocks, changing their color, their texture. You had managed to take out the pillars that were powering the portal, or at least maybe ripping it open further, trying to stabilize it in some way. That was guarded by um, one of their Shadowkai mages. Um, Having done so, managed to close the portal, and with the help of Ilma, and started to head back towards the party of halflings that you had left in the caves. So it would be you had to travel the nearly couple of hours there. You had to fight, stalk around, rest, go in further, infiltrate, and now you're trudging back here at the end of the day. So it's probably close to sunset about the time that you would return to the secluded cave where you left the halfling refugees. As you kind of make your way into the cave, you can see that there is a lot more halflings here than when you left them. Like several others that are have made their way to the cave themselves to assist in some way. There is a fire going in the middle of the cave, and sitting around is several people talking. You can see a handful that are taking care of those halflings that made it this way, but several of those scarred, some of them physically scarred from their endeavors, are actually moving about a little bit more so than that shocked state you left them in before returning back to the barracks. Inside, it's warm, welcoming. Their supplies have been brought in, organized neatly. Bedding has been put down. The Laura is talking to 4 people sitting around the fire, and as you approach, they all kind of stand and move towards you.
You say just 4 people, not 4 people recognized.
Four other halflings that you don't recognize, and Laura.
Okay.
Just as an aside, when we trekked back, I would have put Omar's right in front of me, so I would have known who to follow, and I would have been looking through the book we found, trying to read as much of it as I can. I guess I walk up to Laura. It's like, I see, you all have made it.
Thank the stars you're back. We were beginning to grow a little worried. How did it go? And before you can even respond to Laura, the other four kind of rush to kind of interject in. Um, a rather stout-looking halfling is the kind of first to step forward, and he says, "I am Milo Stoutheart, the leader of the halfling warriors. You've done us a great service. I can see the weariness in your eyes. Come, sit and rest. We owe you more than we can say." Just to his side is a rather thin female halfling. I'm Linnea. I'm one of the caretakers, healers. As you can see, we've managed to tend some of the wounded in your absence. They will have scars for long to come, but it looks as though some of themselves is returning.
That is good. And Kanos, we do have resources for that at the temple. If you ever people find they have problems in the long term.
It is oft common that the scars bared by the touch of the Shattered Kai are not all physical, so do continue to keep watch on them.
In response to the Shatterer, just the mention of the Shattered Kai, you can see one of the other four halflings very sharp and alert, and is kind of scanning, looking very intently at you. Fenwick, Scout and Tracker. Did you encounter more of those wretched Shattered Kai? We've been on the edge, expecting the worst. And then the older looking of the halflings, who's kind of standing beside him, there, puts a hand on his shoulder and says, "Fenton, elder, advisor. Peace, Fenwick. They're here now, and that's what matters. Tell us, friends, what news do you bring? What happened?"
We closed the portal. I'm pretty sure that we saved the world.
Yes, this portal has been closed. There are no Shatterkai left in there when we've seen it. When we left on our way back, we saw nothing. I pull out the map. I want to share all of our intel with them. I just point at all the points of interest. We was able to glean some information from them. And I point, this one was the portal. We don't know if all of these places are portals. Important places, stronghold, we don't know, but we do have this.
Yeah, we don't think that this is some sort of carnival circuit.
The like sturdy-looking halfling, Milo was his name, kind of cocks his head like a dog would, like inquisitively. Like, what?
I may do the same.
If they were just like looking for different places to move to, I suspect they're already there, I guess. Sorry for my bad joke.
Ilma has taken some of this information back to the commanders of Kanos. I think maybe a organized strike on all of these places is warranted. Our current plan was to head back to Kanos and debrief them and figure out where to go from here.
You can see Milo's resolute. Say no more. We've discussed it at length. We'll join the cause of Kanos. It's time now we stood against these threats. And Laura kind of pipes in. We've always shared the same mission, at least in part. But now we've all agreed to formalize it. Together, we'll be stronger. The remainder all kind of at once start speaking their agreements and the like as they're kind of going through. Yes, yes, we'll do whatever it takes to protect our land and our people. You can count on us.
Well, and you can count on the Badlands Auxiliary Reclamation Force in any of your future endeavors.
I'm glad to be working together, but hopefully we're working to the same outcome instead.
The older one, Fenton, says, so is your next move then you say to return to Kanos?
That was the current plan, yes.
Alright, well, why don't we rest now? I can see the weariness in your eyes. Tomorrow, some of us will make the journey with you. We have much to discuss with the leadership. Kind of taking that as gospel, the others just kind of nod their head and turn, go sit back by the fire.
Rest sounds wonderful.
Taking this as his cue, Fancy sets up his little area to rest. Tries to make sure that everything's in its proper place. Plays a little song. Goes to sleep.
I meant to have more of this kind of written out and planned, but I've been feeling bad all weekend. I would spend an hour or so before sleep copying notes from the map and giving a debrief in my book to the Seekers.
Oh, yes, yes.
Oh. Wait, hold on. Don't worry about me.
Amy would just collapse wherever it looked convenient with all her things just on the ground. She'd be out within minutes.
In the comforting warmth, you can hear a background of merriment, something perhaps even unexpected arriving here at the cave, that there would be such a thing. You prepare for rest for the evening. Before you do, is there anything anyone else would like to do?
I'm probably going to start to fade pretty fast after the debriefing. I do start a different letter, but I don't get very far with it. Put it back up.
Amaris just kind of walks over to Fancy. Oh, sorry. Were you not done?
No, it's fine.
Just walks over to Fancy and kind of nudges him with his foot and like, wow, he must have been tired. He didn't even ask to eat.
Get away, Mom. I'm not ready to get up yet.
Dagan does fall asleep very, very content. It was a good mission.
Sleep.
Fancy's wearing one of those little masks over his eyes to keep the bright light out while he's sleeping.
Yeah, the morning comes and you awaken. A handful of the elders seem to be collecting some things, preparing for the journey ahead.
And because it's dawn, I get to re-up my wand of missiles, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, regain some number of charges. Ooh. mini charges. Probably more than you used, even.
Mm-hmm.
Yay.
Yay, good roll.
Did we all gain hit dice correctly, or do we have to do something for that?
No, it
Yeah,
gives
it's
them.
applied.
It gives them back. Yeah. So on the long rest, it automatically gives you half of your maximum number of hit die.
Okay.
As y'all were.
Beat down.
A couple of you were less than half on the hit die. It heals everyone back, and then recover some of the hit die for future short rests.
The only thing it didn't do, or wait, is that correct? Did it do the spell slots correctly? Because like we hadn't added them from leveling until after the long rest.
You have to add that yourself if you haven't added the spell slot. Like the real one. Like from leveling, you mean?
Yeah, from leveling. So
8th
I didn't
level,
do
you
it.
should have a second,
before.
fourth, and they're all unchecked. Yeah, that looks
Okay, so it did do it. Okay.
Didn't we have items that needed to be identified too?
Oh yes, shit! I forgot all about that.
They're not in the party sheet anymore, so
No, I put them in my bag of holding. Let me put them in the party sheet. I probably would have gave them to you last night, but I don't know if you wanted to wait to the morning.
no, I would have identified them before I went to bed.
Do you have some spell slots left to burn?
Yeah, I had one level 1 left anyway, so is that what I plan to do?
Okay.
Give me 1 second. I'm slow right now.
Fancy's doing some elaborate stretch routine, where he's dancing around a little bit and kind of like the Princess Bride dueling steps, as he's practicing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's some chainmail here, but I don't think it was magical.
Longsword appears to be magic. Mystical.
Mystical.
I think we have. There's at least one other un-ID'd item, I think. Maybe
Is
more
that
than
it?
one? No.
Because I got just chain. It's just generic chainmail longsword.
There's a scroll, I think, that someone's got. The one that was talking to people.
Oh, I don't remember what we did with that. I know I wanted to throw it in the bag of holding, which I may have done that, but I didn't write it down. Cryptic scroll. No, I did. How could I forget about a talking scroll? Does it start yapping when I pull? Okay, so I just warn everyone, like, this is the talking scroll. So I don't know what it's gonna do. It could give away their location. I don't know.
Luckily, we're in a safe location. Safe-ish.
You can see that, as you take out the scroll, it was definitely magical in nature before, and it was safeguarded by that magical nature, and it was kept pristine by that magical nature. When you pull it out of the bag of holding, you have to kind of double take because you look at it. You wonder, was this the same scroll? Because it's a lot more haggard. It looks old. It doesn't look like it was newly written, a new parchment like it was when you looked at it before. Something has changed.
I say half jokingly. I think we may have suffocated our scroll.
It likely just lost the connection.
Maybe.
Perhaps it finally realized it could not outdo Fancy in his propensity for verbosity.
He cast you a grin.
So before, to kind of retcon before we slept, which thing with your spell slot, which of the two would you like to have identified last night?
Hmm. Hmm. The chainmail.
Let's see, what does it say? Can you see the description of the
Mhm.
stuff about the calm emotions and the...
Rechargers?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay.
Emotions.
Okay, so, yeah, you identify that.
That could have been useful, with the halflings. Calm down, everybody. It's okay.
And we're back to the morning. Like I said, some of the elders were packing away. Linnea seems to be attending several of those injured halflings. Doesn't look like she's planning on making the journey. What would you like to do?
Is there food? Gotta have some food before we set out. Surely we have food.
Why, food aplenty. This place is now well stocked. It'll be a safe haven for some time yet.
Fancy tries to follow his nose. He's looking for a few choice items. Some cheese. Some apples. Some good breakfast that doesn't get carried along.
Plenty of stuff fit for a morning breakfast as well as stuff for a journey.
Amy wakes up to the smell of food and rushes and starts gorging herself because she's very hungry.
You can see the Laura kind of come up to everyone. See, that did you some good. You have a much different look about you this morning.
I feel much better, I have to say.
It's been a long few days.
You can say that again. Longest days of my life.
I'm just happy to be somewhere
I'm
considered safe.
guessing most of the days of your life have been pretty short.
How'd you know?
Well, everyone, he slaps his thigh. Nothing like a good start. That's a morning start. Let's get going.
I thought that was sorry. I thought that was a southern thing when you're sitting there and you go, well, and you slap your thighs, telling them it's ready to go.
Yeah, that's the universal sign that, well, yep. Yeah.
And then you have to stand around for another 15 minutes and carry on conversation.
Yeah.
I would want to inquire what Laura and Milo and all those, what their immediate plans are.
Well, if you're heading that way, I think we'll give you escort. Maybe make sure you make it through this place alive to get it back to where you're going.
We do appreciate the company, and I know that some people have not seen what we've been doing, what Kanos has been doing, and that would be nice for them.
Fitting the kind of elderly halfling. He says, I'm going to start spreading some of that word myself. Gonna stick around and make sure things get proper order. We start taking all of our little individual bands and groups and maybe collect them together and start thinking with that common purpose. Laura and Fenwick and Milo, they'll run with you, at least for a ways. Fenwick will scout ahead. He'll make sure you make it there in one piece. And if something does come across your way, I think Milo will have you covered.
We appreciate the assist.
You mentioned pulling the groups together. Does this mean that your goal is to move from your nomadic ways and focus into establishing a place?
Well, I wouldn't go quite that far. We're still going to be ourselves, but the need has shown itself, so we're going to at least come together to work together. Let's see where that leads, but I doubt we give up who we are so readily.
Before we go, I would just like to glance around. Do I see Fremen? Or Bremen? Bremen.
The little one that went off to get...
Yeah, who I
Thaddeus?
guess, yeah.
He is not here. No, he
Okay.
was, he never made it here in the first place. After he went and found Thaddeus, Thaddeus found y'all, but that was, separate. He didn't come back with Thaddeus, so wherever he found him, he went off to either to his hovel, his local village, whatever it was, that, back to his people, or who knows.
Okay.
Make sure we have enough supplies and stuff. Yeah, go forward.
Yeah, while we were resting
Make sure you guys have water.
/ eating breakfast, I prepared 2 more spells, so that I have 13.
You know, when I woke up, I prepared another. No, I actually didn't use one of my needle spells. My tattoo.
No. I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think you did.
Nope. Can use cast bolt or hex. So.
Mm-mm.
And I prepared 3 more healing salves. My
Oh, yes.
herbs.
I'll let everyone know that what I identified last night with chainmail, and I don't know who wants it. Anyone?
It is the heaviest of armors. full suit of chainmail.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
is it heavy armor? Oh, it is heavy armor. Yeah.
yeah, it's
I
lower
don't think
AC
we have
than
anyone.
it's lower AC than my splint. So I wouldn't want to drop that just for calm emotions, even though you might need to calm Fancy down every now and then.
Shh. He's common battle because he's unconscious.
Dagan does laugh at that.
Well, we can store this away for later and sell it when we can.
That sounds good. Unless there's some artificing thing y'all can do with it. I don't know. I'm brain dead when it comes to that type of stuff, so I don't know what y'all can do.
The elder responds to kind of Val. We folk have lived a millennia of hardship. Like this, and like the rest, this too shall pass.
Well, we shall do what we can to see if we can make it pass a little quicker.
Just a nod. Laura picks up her kind of pack, kind of looks around, pulls her shawl like up against her neck, tight. I suppose now's as good a time as any.
Yep.
Yes.
Moving out while it's still daylight.
Gather in, everybody. Gather in. Gather in. There's something that I need to say. Gather in. Gather in.
I'll be
All
right back
right.
here to take a shit.
So, last night, I was formulating a plan, and I think this is gonna be great. So, Fancy kneels down and with his finger tries to trace a little circle out in the loose ground. And after he has a little circle, he pulls a few pebbles and a broken piece of glass from his pocket that he has prepared and puts them down, and he says, Armaros, you're going to be this rock here. Dagan, you're going to be this green piece of glass. Emmy, you're going to be this piece of string. And Val and Weldon, I don't have any rocks for you, so you're just here. And he pokes holes deep into the ground for that. There's going to come a time when I'm going to have to do something great. And when that happens, so he goes about playing around in the sand long enough for like everybody to lose interest and trail off before he like picks up his pieces and puts them back in his pouch. Trying to explain some elaborate scheme about if you have this thing and you have to throw it to somebody else, and then they hide it behind their back, and so they can't see, and it seems to have very little relevance. But it does seem that he's put a lot of time into thinking about it.
Should we roll for the awkward silence?
Why do I have to be a piece of string?
Hmm.
I'm a rock gnome, not string.
Was that the rabbit?
Oh my god!
You can't make me laugh as much right now.
Oh guys, I wanted to go in there. I was talking about rocks and strings.
I believe that it's time to leave the cave.
Let me just bless these halflings before we go. They're gonna need it. It's a closed area.
Or blessed with some incense.
I believe he already cast it.
As a cantrip.
Indeed.
And don't forget what I told you guys. It's very important.
So you head on out into the back to the edge of the Badlands. Laura says that they're going to travel east a bit. They know another pass over the mountains that can maybe make the journey a little more direct, but they'll have to still continue to avoid. There are quite a few dangers that lurk despite our victory, and so in the similar fashion that you became accustomed to, she'll run up ahead. You know that there is at least another the scout halfling is far ahead, and you will never actually see him across the journey as he is out scouting, somehow leaving messages for Laura to know about what is ahead. And she'll run up, and then she'll basically patiently wait for you to catch up, and then run up, and that'll repeat over a period of time. Milo will just stroll along leisurely with you as you go. You'll travel the whole day east, following the mountain edge, but sometime in the mid-afternoon she turns, and you have to go south a good ways, apparently to avoid some great danger. As you kind of arc around, she signals that it's okay to set up camp. So you're somewhere still quite a bit south off the ridge line, with some time to go before we make it to this pass the next day or two. So we're going to kind of expedite a little of this as we go along. So you can consider us having like a couple of days journey before we even cross into Kanos, and then another couple days journey to make to the capital city. So is there across these several days, is there anything that you would like to do, discuss, cast, prepare, etc.?
Yeah, while we're traveling, I'll be infusing my shield and remove the infusion from my boots.
Okay.
Can you
Giving...
identify an object a day or something, or what's the?
I could, yeah. I can identify all the objects in a day that we have. It just takes level 1 spell slots.
Oh, okay.
And time.
Yep. So you want to identify the other pieces. So the longbow, while menacing looking, is not magical, but the sword is. I think you should be able to see what it is now. And then the talking scroll is still magical, and it has a very faint veil of magic still left upon it. But as you identify it, you're able to unroll it, and then there are actual words and images that are drawn upon it that were previously scrambled, some kind of ciphered text and stuff that was unreadable before. And so it doesn't actually detail in the scroll itself kind of what it is, but they're only just the description of what it is, but it is a set of invasion plans. You can see a very similar map to the one that you had, but it's, instead of being turned like the map that you had worked with, that you placed dots on, there were the dots in the Badlands, there were some dots way up in the northeast that you had made. This one is turned differently and goes from the Badlands down across Braylon. And there are 2 dots in Braylon.
I'll update my notes to include the 2 dots in Braylon.
There's also some pretty detailed, not just the map, but like some actual detailed instructions about clearing out certain radii around the discovered sites, and no living thing shall be left or be permitted to stay as the transitions take place.
Does Val have like writing skills? Like, people can he? Would Val be willing to make copies of these invasion plans? Or anyone in the party?
I've been taking notes and everything.
Oh yeah. Then we can make copies of these.
Yeah. I will, one of the nights, I will get my seeker book out again and update another message on that.
Could I remove the curse on the longsword with greater restoration?
You can certainly try.
Does anybody want to use the longsword? Do you want me to get rid of the curse? Or try to?
What happens when we get rid of the curse? Does that get rid of the any effects?
No,
Just...
I mean, it
Nah.
becomes a +1 weapon with no other properties.
Yeah, and it's just a +1 weapon with negatives. So, from what I saw, I didn't see any positive to it.
Oh, okay. It says right there, it becomes 1+ weapon on other properties.
Yep.
I have a +1 sword, but if we were gonna sell it, we don't want to. So it's up to you. Might as well try. It's the end of the night, right?
Yeah, so I'll get it back in the morning. It's not even a spell slot, it's a bead, so. I'll cast Greater Restoration on the sword and try to remove the curse.
Okay. Roll a... Do just a wisdom check. Just wisdom.
On the left side?
Yes.
Like abilities?
Yeah.
Abilities check.
Okay, and roll a 100-sided die.
Good.
Just clicked.
You invoke the magic of the bead, casting the spell on the sword. You do not notice any particular change in the sword.
I don't know if that worked or not. Weldon?
Sorry, what was that?
I think.
If it's cursed, I say just get rid of the thing. Let somebody in the sands find it.
No, we can sell it.
That's brilliant. We can sell it. I don't know why I didn't think of that. Good job. Gives you a little bit of a rub across your head between your ears.
I make your... Do you have any jewelry on your hand?
I don't think he does.
I make your shirt smell like moldy water.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I got that pond scum smell.
Pansy, what have you been getting into?
I don't know. Every time I get close to this rabbit, he stinks. You know what I'm talking about?
And when I do that, one of my ball bearings that glows stops glowing. But you don't see.
Fancy takes off his shirt, tucks it away somewhere so it doesn't stink as much, and gets his beautiful 10 strength chest out in the sun.
So, I guess none of these about invasion plans really give a motive, do they?
Oh,
Everything.
no.
Yeah. I guess I do say to Val at some point, like, this isn't about real estate, is it? I mean, I know the Badlands uh, are healing, going to be much more valuable than they were, and there's been a lot of bad mojo here, so I'm sure there's a lot of weird magic concentrations and whatnot. But you have a clue on what their end game is?
It feels like conquest.
I think it's all about a grand story. I mean, if you have a grand villain, they've got to like do something
Grand.
big. Well, yeah, of course. Otherwise, they'll never make it into the songs. You know, you guys are making it into the next song, right? You did a good job back there.
I'd just like to say that of all the years I've been around, I've never heard of this radiant eclipse, but nothing good can come of them. Ties and portals to the Shadowfell are not a new thing, but fabricating them for the purpose of conquest is something altogether different.
You've got to be pretty bold. I mean, the last invasion force that came through the Badlands were the legions of hell and demons and whatnot. They took care of that.
Well, anyone foolish enough by my eyes to invoke both a sun god and the goddess is bewilderingly crazy. I can't understand it.
Hey, Drad, can I use prestidigitation to clean my shirt?
Mm-hmm.
Fancy pulls his shirt back out of his pack and flexes a little bit, you know, trying to make sure somebody sees him, and then flicks his shirt out and then snaps his fingers, and it's clean.
No, it's not.
Let's put it back on. Oh, Drad said I could.
Technically not dirty.
Cantrip fight.
This is real D&D here. Some real lawyer and cantrips.
The whole
Oh,
party just
don't
looks
worry.
over and see Fancy and Weldon
Wow.
staring at a shirt for 40 minutes.
Don't worry. Mine's a class feature, not a cantrip. It's got higher power.
Yeah, I just spend the rest of the, and pretty much both nights, making notes, reading through, just trying to, all the intel I can get, and You see me start on a different letter a couple times, and I like just kind of staring at a blank page, and then I put it away.
All right. So over the next couple of days, as you travel, identifying things, and they continue to move you through the desert. For the most part, taking a relatively northeastward direction, but occasionally having to circle around something of note. Laura takes you up to the edge of some of the mountain cliffs that are to the side. The first bit's a little harrowing. It's doesn't look like much of a path, but that's why it is a secret pass over the mountains. So we could work together and get over this first little bit pretty easy, with some pretty decent ease. The rest will be smooth sailing.
Fancy imagines if he's having one of those imaginary extensions to what could happen. He's imagining some kind of ambush here, so he's going to be super aware, looking for that ambush, somewhat paranoid.
With her help guiding you exactly where to step, where to go, how to make your way up the side of some of this cliff through some cracks in the rocks. She helps everybody kind of get up and over, and then as she takes you around through these little thin crevasses, there'll be places where you even have to get down on your hands and knees and kind of crawl through under different places, or squeeze as tight as you can to get through some places. Armaros has a little difficulty in a couple of those places, but just enough to make it through. And then on the other side, it's almost like a divide in between two mountains, and it's just a rather actual flat place. There's cliffs and jagged rocks up very steeply on both sides, but it's almost, despite a little curving around, relatively flat, even ground under you that just kind of curves in and around on a similar level. And she takes you across that for the better part of another day before descending in a very relatively easy slope on the other side to some open plains in the valleys of Kanos itself.
Seems like it would have been easier to just do wind walk on everybody, so we didn't have to walk up the mountain.
Can you do wind walk on everybody?
10 people.
Okay.
Yeah, but there's we have a large group, or probably have more than 10 people following with us.
Do we? I thought we had a 6, and then Laura and the other guy, and the scout's like way ahead, so he doesn't count.
I was just, and maybe I'm wrong. I was just in my head assuming that they had underlings and their own people, but maybe not. Maybe it's
Some
just
red
you.
shirts.
Yeah,
Some red shirts coming along.
They came themselves. Just them. Yeah, they didn't bring any of the staffers or their protection detail. None of that. Yeah, so so it is like technically the 9 of you, and we're one of them being far ahead that you still have yet to see across 3 days. But Laura assures you that he is ever just ahead, leading the way.
It's nice to have grass underfoot again.
Very much so.
I do like the grass.
Now that you're in Kanos, the temperature becomes much more temperate. The harshness of the surroundings dims. You no longer have that desolate wasteland feel. You start to see all these forms of life, small woodland creatures, trees, shrubbery, fruit bushes, things like that throughout the fields, orchards, and the like. And it is rather pleasant journey over the yet again another couple of days. And so this would be about from the time that you left the cave. It would be about the middle of the 6th day that you will have returned to the capital city of Kanos, somewhere pretty close to lunchtime. When you arrive, you can see that there is, it's already a quite bustling city over this last decade. In the past, it had been mostly military garrisons, but after the leaders have taken over, it has become a sprawling metropolis. Bazaars, open marketplaces, the shopkeepes, the roars of tradesmen and craftsmen, vendors alike, all throughout the city as people go on about their business generally. Today, on the outskirts, all is quiet, all is rather silent. And as you can just hear the low murmurs off in the distance through from the far end of the streets. And you work your way through the network of buildings into what is a large open square outside of the castle. You can see what looks to be an entire garrison of troops standing in formations out front of a large tower that is like a giant raised platform out in that kind of presents itself over the entirety of this big open space. Crowds from all over the city and perhaps all around have gathered, nearly giving just the tiniest bit of breadth of all of these troops that are in formation across the middle, but otherwise crowded in, all kind of looking up at this big platform. Along the top, you can see standing just on the very tip edge of some railing that is meant to keep people in the platform, there stands some tall blonde elf standing on top of the railing, balancing. You can see her pacing back and forth along there, hardly giving any thought or sight to where she walks as she just gracefully maneuvers around the top of the railing, giving a speech to the audience. As you get closer, you can see that that on the platform is a human male that's sitting, like leaning way back in the corner off to the side. But despite his trying to shyly cower in the corner and not be a part of the spotlight, he glows with a slight radiance. You can see as you kind of approach that while he is trying to remain hidden, his raptor-like gaze spreads across the crowd, but more often than not is looking maybe perhaps with worry at the elf parading around the top very edge of this railing very dangerously. As you make your way towards this spectacle in that center, you can start to hear elements of this speech. People of Kanos, warriors of our great city, today we face an immediate and aggressive strike from our enemies. They think they can crush our spirit, but they are sorely mistaken. The female elf kind of crouches down just very quickly and then springs up on top of the like roof structure from the railing up to the roof, and then just barely hanging by the edge of her toes leans out over with her arms open. We face threats from all sides as she kind of leans one way and then heavily to the other. Incursions from the Shadowfell and the new looming menace. Remember this, we are the heart of Ralidar. We are its light and its strength. You can kind of see across this courtyard that despite the sheer number of people that are here, most everyone is unmoving and just staring up kind of in a form of awe. She flips back down with a somersault onto the top railing, landing just on that narrow edge. We will not falter. We will not yield. Our resolve is unbreakable, and our spirit indomitable. Together, we will push back the darkness and reclaim our world. And then with that, the crowd erupts in a big cheer, and she kind of raises her arm, still just barely on the edge of this railing, and looks like she's just kind of basking in the audience and their reaction. You can see her kind of sweep the audience left and right, and for a moment she turns, and your ragged bunch approaching the square, she sees you from the distance and kind of locks eyes in your direction. Looks as though she waves you over.
I push Fancy.
Fancy parades forward in the most royal way, looking around for acknowledgement from the crowd, waving occasionally, you know.
Is this an acquaintance of yours, Dagan?
Do I recognize the person?
You definitely would know who this is.
I think it. I'm just gonna say I bet that's Ileana.
It is indeed.
That's Ilma's mother, the person who helped us most recently. I guess she was able to get through. They were able to mobilize pretty quick in a week, I think.
That's
Ah,
pretty
so
good.
friend then not foe. Anything we should worry about? Problems we should worry about Fancy getting into?
I mean, always with Fancy, but
After Fancy gets a few steps ahead, he's turning around to motion to the others, and he does it with a prestidigitation as like shooting sparks between his two hands, and then he waves them on. You know, come on!
Val's just going to encourage him on with a hand gesture.
I just shake my head. Let's go. Come on.
The crowd, as you kind of make your way across this giant square, the crowd begins to kind of disperse as the elf wraps her arm around the waist of that human male in the back and escorts him down to the bottom. You can kind of see her head leaning against his shoulder. Right before you kind of make it where into like regular talking distance, you can see that she reaches down and pinches his bottom, and he kind of jumps a little bit. My, aren't you a deliciously eclectic and attractive bunch? She kind of winks at you. I have heard about your exploits from Izzy's reports.
Yeah, I can't take all the credit, really. I mean, each one of this team that I've pulled together, each one plays a significant role in our success, I have to say.
Dagan just takes a deep breath. Yeah, I see.
For
You.
example, this Amarus guy, he may look like a cow, but he he is incredible. He's an incredible healer. And take this Dagnon guy. I mean, as a warrior, he is incredible. Even this Welton fellow is incredible. Isn't that right? And gives you a wink, Weldon.
I ignore him.
Are you able to see the images I just shared?
Yeah.
I did. Some
Okay.
shiny magical dude and some super hot babe elf lady.
Yeah, Fancy's gonna be hitting on everything now.
Yeah.
Show the pictures.
Good thing they're not real pictures.
Well, aren't you all very sweet? And then she kind of reaches up and just kind of pats Fancy on the side of his face, on his cheek. I'm Ileana.
In the
This
most. Go ahead.
is Nilar.
Fancy does an enormously elegant bow, raises up, and attempts to kiss Ileana on the top of her hand, and then turns to give a little salute to Nalar.
As you turn to kind of give him the salute, you can kind of see that his raptor gaze is fixed upon you, watching you warily. His, but he smiles cordially and returns the salute.
So I see efforts have already been made. Is this the first group going out? And,
Oh, for which thing?
the invasion from the Shadowfell is what we know about at the moment.
I heard you mention there was a new threat. Is that
Oh,
right?
yes. Do you? I suppose you do not know of it then.
I Fancy nudges Dagon.
I mean, I've never heard of there not being a threat.
This is true. Yeah, we've been out to the Badlands for a little bit. So
Oh, yes. So you've definitely led the way in that incursion. Many of the other leaders are out, in fact, doing so now, but they shall be returning quickly after the news. She kind of leans in. Einar has taken affront.
What's an Einar?
it's a country.
It seems as though they tire of the ways of independence of the world as they keep leading it to disaster. At least that's their story to date. But over the last few days, they have struck out and gobbled up much of their continent.
That's pretty impressive.
Do they have the numbers for that?
Surprisingly, both the numbers and the magical might. Not to mention their skills and artisanry that has them with the best weapons and armor that can be found in the land. But yes, it seems as though over the last period they have swayed those normally neutral. Their kin, despite them being considered lesser, to their one mindset. Einar itself has surprisingly formidable forces, but aided with those of Vineholm, and even perhaps backed by a little of the Banks and Davin, has taken over a good majority of their continent. And they did it in a sweepingly short period of time. Matter of days. Times that it would take for us to even make the march. They have somehow been in place and
Okay,
overtaken.
time out. These are the high elves?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, got it.
You can open up the world map in the picture.
Yeah, I did. I was trying to
Okay.
make sure that I remember the name.
Oh yeah. Do they plan to stop at their continent? Are they? Did anyone fight back?
Well, they struck out mostly to the west. Um, It seems as though that even though they didn't have to conquer Davin, that they are somehow in uh, compliance with what they're trying to do, in some ways investing in it. It took them no time at all to overtake the Goliaths of Calendish, and they have moved off into several of the other countries. Mor, Sorum, and Kep are down. They're not particularly brutal in their methods, but they are unrelenting.
Is there anything that we could do to help?
Well, I'm glad you asked. Come, let's go to the castle. We'll talk there.
Oh, I like castles.
Fancy nudges Armaros and tries to catch his eye looking down, and he says, "Remember what I told you, okay?"
String. Remember the string.
Yeah.
Eliana will kind of swiftly turn and push Nalar a little forward, kind of urging him onto the castle. She again kind of walks up beside him and puts the arm around his waist. This time with one hand firmly on his butt as they walk back to the castle.
Val's gonna hang back and just gonna walk next to Dagon. This timing is very inopportune.
Is Nalar is he bewitched or something? What's wrong with him?
With
You're
Nalar
hitting on
speaking
her?
the name, with the name Nalar spoken, does Dagon or Val recognize that name? Do they know who he is?
Just for my connection with Mistra, I think I would know who Nalar is, and being around Kanos as well, and that.
Oh, one second.
I will leave you to explain it to Fancy then.
High Magister, was that the title?
Just Magister.
Magister. He's Mistra's chosen one. I say to Fancy.
Chosen one. Yeah, but I mean, is he okay?
What makes you think he's not?
I mean, he just seems a little shiny. And is he in control of himself? I don't know. It just seems something seems weird.
I nudge Fancy like sort of backwards to like slow him down so we can get further away from the front of the everybody walking, and I lean in and whisper, "Let's not get thrown out of this city, preferably. Don't piss anybody off.
Okay.
Hit on the bunny if you have to."
Gives Weldon a glance. What?
I mean, I don't know what Eliana and Alar are into like that. I mean, this is up to you. But he's the champion of Mistra. He's the strongest magic user in existence.
Oh,
We're not a threat to him.
well, I think that you forgot the key word there. Yet.
You keep on vying for power. It is part of Mistra's words. course, there's a second half to that, and use it responsibly. So
So you follow your way into the castle itself, and they take you. They kind of lead you into what's like a very large dining hall with an extremely large, long table. There's a feast that's been set up there, even though you weren't particularly expected. It seems like there's just a common occurrence of them having to treat with people, and given that it is lunchtime, this is just set up and ready, waiting when they arrive. Nalar goes to one side of the table that has kind of two chairs next to each other, and just kind of sits down, quiet, and just ever looking. Ileana kind of walks around the table, and when she walks, she tends to sway and kind of twirl a little as she actually walks around, trying to be not just trying, but succeeding in being quite graceful. She goes over, looks at the empty chair beside him, and you can kind of see some gears going off in her mind as she sits there thinking about it, and then instead turns and plops over in his lap, and drapes her legs over the arms of the chair, and then kind of puts her arm around his neck, and then as she plops down, he kind of lets off a like a grunt. She'll kind of turn to him, say, "Don't dally now. What do you want me to do? Kiss it and make it better? Perhaps later, but can't you see we have important things to do?"
Shall we join you?
Well, this seat is mine, but you may take one of the others.
Excellent. Everybody, find your seat. Find your seat. This way.
I do bring out specifically. I start the maps and all the intel we've got, and Ilma. We shared much of this with her, but we do have a few more updates since then. And I show Nalar the scroll, the suffocated scroll. Um, it it was a bit more uh, verbose, but since we cleared out um, the I don't know the staging point we were at, it has faded quite a bit.
As you kind of hand it out, he kind of motions his hand, and the scroll lifts out of yours and comes over into his, as he's still adorned with his Ileana ornament. Managed to roll it open, and you can kind of see he close his eyes, and his glow pulses, his ever-present celestial glow pulses a moment, and he looks at it. Intriguing magical history of this particular item. It is long in the making and long bewitched. But its magic does fade. Its connection hindered. That's a good sign. And then he floats it back over to you.
And I show the two new points which were in Berlin, if I remember correctly.
Are we supposed to see something when we look at the scroll now, or the scroll, or is it supposed to be blank?
It's no, I just described it. It wasn't all written out into what's in the scroll, but it
Okay.
talks quite a, like there was a new map, was a part of that, which has the two new dots on it. Like it cut a different swath than the first one.
I see.
So it went from Badlands to Brolin, like from basically west to east across this middle continent, kind of like the northwest of the continent to the southeast of the continent, and you saw two new dots in the southeast on this map. And there's also some descriptions about killing and clearing out areas around these quote unquote discovered sites, as they're actually put in quotes in the plans themselves, describing some careful instructions as to how to clear out those areas, but not what to do with them.
Okay.
Is Laura still? What the hell are you doing, Fancy? Is Laura still with us too?
She is, yes.
It's like, yeah, I just update them on, what we've done, and I tell them I sent a report to the Seekers, and Laura has, and the halflings that we've met are part of this now too. So, at least with the Shadowfell.
The um
I'm sorry.
the
Uh-huh.
that's funny. That's funny. The as you're kind of going through the descriptors of kind of what you've done and the like, very actually very calmly and softly, the way that Nalar speaks, he says, "It is curious that these events would align, but it can't be understated. This magical threat is real. It isn't just a threat to the world by invasion. It is a threat. That is itself a threat. But it isn't the only one. The workings of not only the god of the light, so to speak, the god of the dark, so to speak, whether that's the Raven Queen or Shar, I'm still not entirely certain. But with their combined efforts, something else ill is afoot. I think it has to do with not just our weave, but the shadow weave. It could be that they are trying to do things that are not to be done. But at the same time, we've been able to handle some of these immediate threats, it seems, but there are perhaps more we don't know. And now with this new global threat, it's a whole other thing. My station affronts me quite a few advantages, but one of the disadvantages is that I am not at liberty to assert that much influence or power over the world itself. It must be the world that is governed by the world, and the magic will be protected by me. That is the balance, and it must be maintained.
Fancy is his mouth full of something, and he tries to interject something here at this point. He's like, "So have you thought about inviting a whole party of adventurers to help you?" I mean, have you thought about this party to help you? He does a sweeping arm motion around the table, giving everybody a little bit of a, like a click finger. Yeah, over there. You, yeah, you.
We've had
How
some thoughts to that end. How is it that you think that you might be of help?
Well,
Are you a
you know,
chef? Are you good at laundry?
I mean, I've done those things, but I don't know if that's the best use of our abilities because, frankly,
That was Ileana, by the way. That was hard to tell.
he's he's very very good at bragging, but he is a damn good fighter, and he is very heroic, despite how he may seem sometime. but as far as our group, I was definitely coming here to volunteer to be the tip of the spear for taking out the rest of these little points of interest on the map here in the Badlands.
I see.
And before we jump too far ahead, there was something like 2 sentences ago. What do I know about the Shadow Weave?
It is the magic itself is the weave. Mistra herself maintains the negative space, the voids between the weave is the shadow weave. I'm trying to think of how much you would actually really know. People know that it's a bad, that it's both. It can't. It's neither really necessarily good or bad. It's just a matter. Its potential dangers of use. Um, it has the ability to undo the weave, which is why many of those that work in the service of Mistra do so. One of the things that they protect against is the Shadow Weave's influence on the weave.
Okay, I didn't know that, but I think Dagan would at least knew that surface level of that. Um, I guess I asked Naylor this. Or I don't know if I would know this. Can the Shadow Weave even exist without the weave? I'm just really thinking about their motives and whatnot.
The the Shadow Weave is its own independent form of magic, formed from those void spaces in the weave itself. Um, that can it exist without it? I don't. Once now that it exists, I don't know that it. I'm not certain if it has to be that one can live without the other or not. Know that one can influence the other. The use of shadow magic is actually quite of the Shadow Weave's magic is very dangerous for most mortals. It's very maddening. It's quite dangerous for the mind of a mortal user. And the protections to use it have usually only been given by Shar herself, since she is in some way the the nothingness is part of its power, and that's kind of the darkness, and nothingness is the absence. That's part of where um, her power is as well. It's similar but still somewhat separate.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, to catch back up in the conversation, I just say, some of us here, it's not the first time we have fought to protect from invaders. So
Ralidar has a stark history, unfortunately recent history, of holding off world-ending cataclysmic events. I know all too well.
And now it must do so simultaneously while trying to develop and maintain some semblance of foreign policy with the people from Einar.
Unfortunately, that seems our role in the plight. Rodrin, Kanos, and Kragos all seem to be kind of leading this front politically speaking, trying to hold things together, but there's a lot of worry. They don't really know or understand anything about this Shadowfell threat, but they can see very much this direct threat. And it would not be in the interest of anyone for everyone's ways to be nullified and eradicated from this world. Both threats are real. What makes them even more real, perhaps, is in both cases the many facets that hold up the societies, organizations that are pushing for the source of these threats felt very justified in their cause. That radicalism in itself is just as dangerous as the threat that or that we can see physically being posed by those entities. As you probably well know, Einar has no love of the outside world. They've mostly been amenable through these years to keep to themselves, to let others be, as long as they were left alone. But maybe something to do with their neighbors, as of late, maybe something to do with that artifact on the Isles, maybe something to do with this Shadowfell stuff, maybe the giant armies of demons and devils and undead that walked this land not that long ago. Maybe something was a final straw that they seek to think, or they think to seek at least, that they are the only way to prevent that from reoccurring.
Well, all of it added up together is enough of a stench to climb all the way up their high elf noses and antagonize them to do nothing but stare down at everyone else and actually
Fancy stands up and
take
says,
action.
"Here, here!"
Ileana's nodding quite a bit.
Val kind of looks over at Fancy, even if maybe sometimes they're right about some people.
Fancy doesn't notice, sits back down, keeps eating.
They have far long thought themselves superior to others. And in some ways they have proven some of that, but their ideology lacks. Now that they would wish to force that ideology upon others, if they were to control or bend the will, the forces of those around them, what might their intent be? If they can't stand their neighbors and they subjugate them, what kind of life would that be?
Val's going to address Naylor. I've traveled with Dagon and we've had much success vanquishing evils and demons and devils, and even most recently in our current plight. I saved your friend once, and you've invested in me. You've changed me and honed me like a blade. I'm no tactician. Uh, I've always been but just a tool to be used by a more delicate or experienced hand. I don't know if this war is something I have a place in. Perhaps I should just stick dealing with matters of the Shadowfell.
I think you discredit yourself. But that is a possibility. That might be where the spear is best pointed.
His expertise in the Shadowfell has been very good for us.
Yeah, there are quite a few threats ahead of us. There are many ways in which we can go. Many ways that you could help.
Are you allowing us to choose?
Well, I wouldn't want to put you somewhere where you didn't think you were capable.
Well, that would be pretty difficult considering the skill set we have. Right, guys? Right? Am I right?
Not usually.
On the surface, sometimes we look like a mess, but this group has been very unique and very effective.
Eliana smiles and she kind of pops up out of his lap and kind of stands, um, leaning over the table. You know, I myself have had a good time invested with a rambunctiously eclectic group with strange talents and twisted backgrounds. You know, they may have just saved the world. Sometimes that's what it takes.
And even if our efforts are to be pointed at the Shadowfell, I am interested in if unless it's need to know and knowing what some of your plans are with the INR situation.
Well, we've got a handful of tasks. Diplomacy. That's an obvious upfront thing that needs to take place. There hasn't been much success, but there also hasn't been that much communication. Time has gone by in the snap of a finger. And most are still kind of reeling as to how to proceed. But I think that, of all things, we need to find out what's going on, what what can be done. There could be elements of subterfuge and sabotage that could be necessary in the near future. There are certain squads of folks that will be much needed in that endeavor. There will hopefully, not but seemingly so, be a need for some level of skirmish if necessary to prevent further advancement.
Fancy noisily scoots his chair back and stands up. Although I do like the idea of politics, I think that our strengths lie in being direct. And he whips out his sword and swishes a weird pattern in the air and then puts it back.
Leona's just kind of like little soft giggle and smile. Well, at least you know your strengths and your current, perhaps, outset way of handling things.
And we would have not made it through our last mission if not with the help of the halflings. So we do want to pay them back with that.
They have been rather silent just kind of soaking in most of what's been going on. Laura does at this kind of time kind of look around, go ahead and stand up, kind of leans on the table, the same kind of way that Ileana is. The threat seemed concentrated in the Badlands. That's my home. The halflings have agreed wholeheartedly to join you in your endeavors. Our home is what we know, and we will take care of our people, and we will take care of this threat. One fear is that we know some areas of plight, and it seems as we've discovered recently some new ones. Are those the only ones? We found 2 maps, 2 with different sets of markings, some that overlap. Are there only 2 maps? Are there many maps? Are these dots all over the world? Or are they contained to only what we know?
And to point out too, the largest one is in Erden. Has Erden been taken over yet?
Strangely enough, no. When Einar marched through Moor, the war-banding orcs there gave them perhaps a bit more of a trouble than some of the others did. But when they made it to their country's borders, they stopped. They dared not go further, and we do not know why. But then again, that was only a short time ago, and today things may be different.
I think that's where we should go. We should send the best to the biggest threat.
So then where would you like to go?
No, the best. That's he makes a little motion like going around in circles with his hands to motion to the table. The best.
Not that I want to allow the Shadowfell a foothold anywhere in Ralidar, but perhaps if they did come out in Erden, then it can be their problem and take up some of their resources. Uh, Perhaps it might be best just to clear out the rest of the Badlands right now. Allow
If
the
memory serves, were there not also locations in the Tainted Isles?
yes.
I think you guys are failing to remember just how much sand there is in the back. He shakes his head.
It could be these incursions that have them all stirred up to begin with.
You think they're looking to go somewhere else because of these incursions?
No, knowing them, I think they're just all stirred up similar to a nest of hornets, angered and uh, judging with disdain of things they have to come down from their fortress area and deal with because they see no one else capable of doing so.
Nalar's has kind of been quietly contemplating as he's tapping his finger against his chin. You said that those in Erden should handle it themselves, and perhaps you're right. If memory serves, the occupants there, while sharing heritage with those of the Shadowfell, have no love for it. There is a darkness across that land, as is necessary for their kind to have comforted survival, but at the same time, there's definitely no love lost between them and their former residents. Do you think that perhaps that somehow this radiant eclipse has changed their hearts? That they work together rather than in opposition?
Well, we should go find out. Am I right? Armaroos? Come on.
It may not be the bad play. I mean, I do want to make sure that if we don't stay in the Badlands, that that Laura, they're able to get some resupplies, some extra muscle, some help.
Well, there are a couple that are out there now. Uh, from Izzy's report, you have already met my former counterpart.
Braden, yes. Assuming that was Naylor that was talking.
Yeah, Naylor. Arden.
Oh, yeah.
Um, it is my understanding that he still intends to do his work there. Although they had some great success at their last location, but haven't heard much from them as of late. My darling daughter has come in return, speaking highly of you all, and she has went off to join them. Insufferable young one.
She joined them where? Where was that?
They were in the Badlands last that you knew. They were at one of the other marked sites in the southeast.
Well, while I'm no expert in these matters, I seem inclined to go with Val's judgment here.
Nilar thinks for another moment. Still tapping his finger on his chin. So perhaps you wish to go to Erden then?
Yes.
Or
I say Erden.
and turns to the halflings. And with some of our help, do you think you can make some headway in your homeland? They all kind of nod enthusiastically. We will see it done. If the very might of Palor himself couldn't kill us, surely they can't either.
Oh, that's a big taunt. But I'm glad you feel that way.
Not only did we survive since that time, but we've been honed by the very environment meant to entrap us and torture us. We are not weak. I am old, but well beyond when others of my age would be reclused and unable to care for themselves. Young ones still have a hard time keeping up with me. This is instilled in our people, across us all. We will see it done.
I have no doubt in that. And I do hope we fight alongside each other again.
Well, quite frankly, I hope that we never have to. But it doesn't seem like we have that choice in front of us as of yet. We fight so that someday those that we leave behind will not have to.
I just give a respectful nod at that.
Nilarth, very well. I think I have a pretty good plan for them. With some of our help, perhaps it won't be too bad. And you're going to run off into perhaps the nature of the beast itself. Right there on the very edge of which, last we knew, Einar was standing right on its precipice as well. Maybe you'll have the opportunity to kill two birds with one stone, or help in more ways than one. And Ileana kind of walks over and grabs his head and kisses the top of it, and then mashes his head up against her breast. Isn't he so smart?
Oh, Liliana, we've missed you.
Despite his divine radiant glow, the celestial being that he is, his face is very red.
So, do you have a way to just magic us over there or something? Or are we going on a boat trip?
Well, there is a way, but I dare not use the elements of my magic in this endeavor. Not unless there is enough of a threat that might justify it. That balance, I'm afraid.
Well, I was kind of itching to see how Amaruse's sea legs are anyway.
See, there are others that might could help, but he thinks to himself, unfortunately, I would think most of them engaged. We do have the teleportation circle here. I might be able to do something that doesn't break the balance. But it's something that I'm going to have to take some time to see. You might need to make some preparations either way.
We should probably resupply anyway while we're here. Maybe a while until we're at a place where we can.
Canos has been a place of bounty over these last years. As you can see, there's been quite a bit of change, even in recent days. I think you'll want for naught. Ileana is gonna kind of turn to you all. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Just name it. If it's simple, it shall be done. It shall be prepared.
I know just one thing off the top of my head is if there's some sort of um, a teleport scroll more for leaving Erden in case we needed a quick exit strategy.
I think we could have something like that arranged. Might have something in store for our leaders. Often come and go that they might take with them so that they could return without the aid of the portal tenants attendants. Something key to hear. I think we could make that happen. Assuming that you have the ability to activate it. I wouldn't dare to assume your abilities.
My sorcerer said I can use magical scrolls, right? Or is that just a wizard thing?
I think the artificers can, honestly, but I don't know that. I actually don't think can.
What was the question?
Magical
Cool.
scroll, like use arcane scrolls.
I don't know. Isn't that a school of magic thing? Or is it a class feature? So I have Arcana.
Let's see. Sorcerers can if it's on their spell list.
Let me look it up.
Not that you have prepared, but that you have
Yeah.
on their spell list. Which I think. I always get like those two, like they're so similar that I hardly know much of their differences sometimes.
Yeah. Um, yeah, sorcerer, bard, and wizard. Oh god, we're not giving that to the bard, and that's the teleport. Oh wait, hold on. Make sure I'm doing the right teleport.
So it's the spell must be on your class's spell list. If the spell's level is higher than you can normally cast, you must make an ability check with a DC equal to 10 plus the spell's level.
And teleportation and teleportation circle. This would be teleportation circle. And that is not on the artificer spell list, but it is on bard, sorcerer, wizard.
So Fancy could do it.
Nah, I can do it.
there's no AC. Roll for
Sorcerin, sir. Sorcerin. Not that I don't trust Fancy, but I don't trust.
Probably wise.
Drop us
Fancy
out
would
of
Where
leave
did-
there.
everybody believing. To guys, I can handle this scroll thing, no problem.
No, we took it to his he accidentally took us to like his favorite spot.
Yeah, I picture him just walking around one day, and he's just happened to be holding a scroll, or accidentally touches it, and he's thinking, "Man, I want to go to a brothel," and then boom, we're all in a brothel.
Yeah, we go. Oh, we got
All
those
in
places to save the world. We're all fucking in his shower.
Ralidar equivalent of East Detroit.
Yeah. I'm a rabbit person. I don't want to be here.
So I put a scroll of teleport circle in the party sheet.
Oh, awesome.
While we're on the topic of potentially having things of need, don't think that we haven't forgotten that you did complete a particular objective of mission, and successfully to the letter, might I add, given that the halflings are indeed here and joining with us. Not to mention your extra set of things that you had to endure along the way. Great. She's like, Ileana's gonna excuse herself, and she's, I'll be right back. And then she's gonna go into the other room. She's gonna bring back a little small chest. And a, what is it? It's a little, it's actually, it looks kind of like a ratty looking sack, that she's gonna bring, with her as well. She's gonna toss the sack um, onto the table. So you should take this with you. It might be helpful.
Nice.
Beware its meager appearance. It is not what it seems. In fact, it's much, much more than that, in more ways than one. And then,
I have.
right,
Go ahead.
In the chest, she opens it up, and then there is a pile of coins, and then a handful of gems.
Oh yeah, Val should take that diamond.
There is a warning on that bag. We need to make sure to not place it in the bag of holding. That seems like.
Oh yeah, that. Don't do that. Let's not mess with.
A one-way ticket to the astral plane.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're about to go to the level 20 zone real quick.
We still play fancy though, right?
Yeah.
I do. Not for that reason. I do have a bag of holding, so someone else should take the haversack.
You just don't. Oh, okay, the haversack. Yeah.
And Val can use those diamonds for a spell component for resin. So, not sure if a ruby's a component for anything. Ooh, that's a nice little bit of gold in there.
Yeah, there was like 800 in there earlier.
Yeah, we just have Jad hit the auto distribute or whatever. I think.
Is there a way to get any like bonus armor?
Huh?
Or like can the artificers infuse armor?
Yep, but only limited.
Gonna
Only
get that
limited to
11
what?
AC BOP.
I mean, I have leather armor, which is already 11 AC.
Oh yeah, you have negative dex, right? Yeah.
Mhm. You were like, what's the limit on making it?
We can only do 3 items.
Period.
Period.
Yeah, I think they're pretty much built to like they just make their own magic items. I don't know. Can you make things for other people? Like
Yeah, I can infuse a piece of armor or a shield, but
I
I'd be
mean,
foregoing my infused shield or
I see.
yeah. They're not
But we could
permanent.
maybe purchase one from a different artificer, or
Well, you just go to we go shopping and you see if you were able to find something to purchase in the market.
shopping episode.
Because infused items are completely different than regular magical items.
yeah, I know.
Okay.
I was just wondering if I didn't know what the rules were around them though. Because yeah, there's like that, or there's I can just buy some magical hide armor if we can find it, hide or leather armor at any plus.
Do you know if your subtype of your circle or whatever of druid what proficiency you have? Is it light armor proficiency only,
I
or
have both light and medium actually.
you do have medium? Okay.
I do, yeah. Medium armor and light armor proficiencies. And shield proficiencies, but I don't have a shield, so.
Oh, you should get a shield. I should say easy,
Yeah, you
easy
should
AC.
totally get a shield. Yeah, if you're not using two-handed weapons, you should totally have a shield. Definitely as a pacifist.
Yeah. I can't remember what I have.
I won't hit you, but I can't let you hit me.
What's this one?
And I think a +1 shield's not too expensive. It's not like the +1 armor is really expensive.
I'll go ahead and hit this button so you know what kind of.
And if Dread wants to allow us to do any shopping, it's probably
Mm-hmm.
simple for us to do out of game shopping or out of roleplay shopping.
Oh, we're roleplay shopping.
Oh yeah.
I'm just kidding. I mean, roleplay shopping's fun sometimes. Just whatever everyone wants to do. I'm still a little fevery, so like every time I try to talk, I forget words. Like, wait, what is that? Oh,
Spend the next hour and 15 minutes watching Fancy try on different hosieries.
I am looking. I had something in mind, but I can't find
Dun dun dun.
go ahead and take those diamonds, Val.
So
Yeah,
how poor is everybody?
I'm not that poor actually. I don't think.
Is Val taking both of them, or does someone else want one?
You're the only. You should take both of them because you're the only one who needs a spell component right now.
It doesn't consume them. So
No, it does consume them.
oh, does it? Oh, for
Yeah.
certain
it.
spells.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
If,
pearl for identify that you have does not.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I
But
thought. I didn't think
many
the
of them
Persial
do.
got consumed.
Yeah, they have to
Okay.
specifically say that they're not consumed like identify does.
Oh, okay.
taking a 10 or 15er, or are we?
Yeah, let's do that while I look up some stuff. Let's take a little break. So Armoros is wearing just leather. Can wear medium. What? There are certain druids that are opposed to metal. Are you opposed to metal?
I was trying to look for that. I thought that was maybe all druids, but I'm not. I can't actually remember where
No,
to
it's usually
find
a circle thing.
that. Okay, let me read the circle. Um,
No, that's a class feature. Light, medium armor shields, parentheses, druids will not wear armor or use shields made of metal.
Oh, there you go then.
yeah, it's all druids, right?
Yep.
Yep. So I can't even do like half plate because that would be
Nope. It's yeah.
even though it's a medium armor, it's metal. So
All right. Well, I'm gonna get up and go bow. What time do you want us back?
Let's do like 15 minutes.
Okay.
Okay. So, you have some freedom to be about, to go look for some things to get prepared for your journey. Before we do that, there's some clerical things that I did want to impart upon you. And so, one of the things that I had talked about before the start of the campaign was, we're doing the milestone leveling. There's magic item abundance has some direct roleplay correlations as well. When you level up, there are potential level up bonuses. And so, one thing that I have a list of those for each of you to incorporate in some way. So, let's see. Weldon, let's do you first. On level up,
Do me.
you get +1 intelligence and plus int to your cannon damage.
Okay.
So when you do your normal 2d6 for your cannon's force damage, it's 2d6 plus int now, or 8d8, 2d6, d8, whatever it is. It now, you add your int modifier to that as well. Fancy, you get a choice whether you can choose to take it or not. On this one, you can lose 1 intelligence to gain 2 wisdom.
That sounds close to the way that Fancy's been role played.
That's where I come up with that. You get a +1 to initiative. +1 bonus to initiative, and 1 extra use of bardic inspiration per rest.
So wait, what is the choice? I mean,
Well, do you take that? Do you take that or not? Like, you can choose to take the penalty to intelligence to gain 2 wisdom or not. I'm not forcing you to take a negative if you don't want to. That's why it's a choice.
and the other thing is sealed or what? The initiative thing?
+1 to initiative, and +1 to the number of uses of bardic inspiration per rest.
+1 initiative feels very fancy too, because
Yes.
like I said, he's very heroic. He does want to jump right in.
Yeah, and actually, I think that Fancy's intelligence is amusingly part of the way that he's roleplayed. So I will take the +2 whiz and -1 int.
Okay, yeah, you can make that change.
Street smart, not mass smart.
Val, you you get to treat some of your warlock levels as rogue levels for the purposes of sneak attack. And so you will gain 1d6 to your sneak attack damage, as though your 3 levels of warlock count as 2 levels of rogue for that purpose. You gain 2 intelligence. You become proficient in Arcana, and you have, whenever it comes to knowledge checks having to do with the Shadowfell, the Shatterkai, or anything adjacent to that knowledge, you gain advantage on any of those rolls. So you might just have to note that somewhere in your abilities.
And Drad, how do I change the initiative thing?
I think it's the magnifying glass next to AC. It's probably where you're going to find that on your main page.
I just do +1 initiative.
And the miscellaneous, yeah.
Yeah, I found it. Thanks.
Armaros, let's see, +1 dex.
I'll give you one more
Proficiency in
HP.
insight.
Ooh.
And then 1 extra level 2 spell slot.
Ooh, cool.
Let's see. Dagon, +2 wisdom. Proficiency in Arcana. And then, regardless of how many points of your lay on hand pool you have spent, you may always act as though you have 1 point in reserve. Always.
Oh wow. Okay.
Emmy, you get to learn a new cantrip of your choice. And you gain expertise in any intelligence-based tinkering checks. Expertise is the double star, where you get to add
Ooh.
twice where your proficiency gets added twice.
And Drad, I don't know how to add a bardic inspiration. That seems sewn into it somehow. Like to add an extra.
So not a plus one.
Oops.
So if you on the what they call like the group or whatever, the B insp group, if you click the magnifying glass for the group,
Okay.
You have 5 uses.
Oh, I can change uses. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I just changed that to 6.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks.
And you said an additional level 2 spell slot, right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Not learn spell. Okay.
Yep. An extra. Yeah. So you can cast 1 additional level 2 spell, or upcast level 1, whatever. But
Awesome.
okay. Did everybody get all those things? Did anybody need to repeat anything, or?
One more time on the D6. Is it 1 more D6 per?
Correct. Yeah. So you're at 3d6.
Gotcha.
You should be up to 4 now.
But as you level up in the future, you'll just look at it as if you were 2 levels higher right?
Yes. Yeah. In fact, yeah. For the purposes of sneak attack only. Yes.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah. So whatever your table says, it should always be 1d6 more than whatever your table says.
Gotcha.
For your current rogue level. The Shadowfell piece on your advantage extends to the adjacent things as well. Shar, the Raven Queen, like any of those, anything having to be directly tied to Shadowfell or its inhabitants of any kind, shadows, shades, whatever, anything that relates that way. Okay. Awesome. So was that everything? Did everybody get that? Need help fixing anything?
No, I'll have to look through the cantrips and decide, I suppose.
Mm-hmm. There's lots of deep ones. From other damaging options to other utility options. I mean, there's quite a few to choose from. But there's no rush on picking that. Chapter 1 ended beating any expectations that I had going into it. So it was so much fun. I'm very happy.
Ta-da!
And can I just check in out of character that the way that Fancy is being played is not ruining anybody's fun? Everybody's okay with the...
No, it's
stupid-
all been in character disdain. I've
Okay.
been
Okay,
it's
good.
fine.
We
Yeah,
love Fancy.
Yeah, I didn't want to ruin anybody's fun by the dumb
Well,
stuff
this is
he
how it
does.
puts. Crodor is having a blast.
Okay, good.
yeah, I've been enjoying the whole thing, and there's
As long as you learn not to give the rabbit carrots and touch the rabbit's head, you're good.
don't touch the rabbit.
I don't think he's learned anything yet.
Yeah, don't fuck with the rabbit. This rabbit can make you miserable.
Okay. Let's see. All right. First things first. I know one thing that someone wants, and that's the shield that Armaros wants, and that's +1 natural shield. That will be available, but 600 is the cost.
You get that, Riv?
You. Ha.
Your protection's not cheap.
Your AC is going to swing pretty far.
Yeah, it is.
What are you gonna
It
get up
already
to?
has.
What is it up to?
And eventually it
14.
won't matter because everything
And it'll
has
go
such
to
high
17.
strength and
It'll go-
dex.
Yeah,
Yeah, with the shield.
with the shield it'll be up to 17.
Okay.
I believe with the +1 shield. Yeah, so when you put in the shield, let me grab one here.
You said that's 600?
600, yeah.
Okay, so 6 gold pieces left.
And then platinum is 10 apiece, for the record.
Like I have one here. I still have the page up, so I can just
Plus
grab
one
it.
shield, you have one?
Yeah.
Okay, if you want to just grab it, you can grab it. That's fine. Otherwise, I can drag one over.
Got it.
The only other thing I've heard we're kind of looking for is healing potions.
Yeah.
Like Fancy also wanted to get like if there's a cloak of protection or something here, right?
Oh, yeah,
Ring
or
of protection,
braces of
or-
defense, or ring of protection, or something of dodging, or I mean, I just keep thinking about the combat that we've had so far, and Fancy's been dead, I don't know, 11 or 12 times.
Just unconscious, laying there bleeding, not dead.
It doesn't fit his story arc. Not that that matters what really
Yeah, you
happened or
can
not.
the story arc changes from the ink from your pen.
Yeah.
The victor writes the story, right? Regular healing potions. You can across a couple of different vendors. You can get up to 6 at the standard 50 gold a piece.
I will buy all those. I'll hand them out to people if you want them. I mean, I'll buy them. Everybody just take one.
There are a handful of potions of greater healing.
How much are they?
Different vendors. One is only 150. One is 250, and one is 300.
I still have 6 potions of healing, so
These are the greater healing. These are the greater healings.
So the last one was 350 or 3?
3. 150, 250, 3.
I'll buy the 150 and the 250.
Okay.
I'll buy the 300.
Okay. I will put, if you'll mark off your stuff, I can put one in the
Yes. Please.
party inventory. Wherever it went.
Long fight. We all run out of spell slots. Healing potions are going to matter. Even though I don't think we don't use them too much. Still nice to have. So
I'm gonna put 3 in here. There you go. So you can take. There are neither cloak nor ring of protection. Let's see. Okay. For AC, there might be. Let's check. There is a cloak of displacement.
Remind me what that does again?
So, a cloak of displacement. While you wear it, it projects an illusion that makes you appear to be standing in one place near your actual location, causing any creature to have disadvantage on attack rolls against you. If you take damage, the property ceases to function until the start of your next turn.
Oh yeah, that's beautiful. That sounds very fancy-esque.
And if you are incapacitated, restrained, or otherwise unable to move, the property is also suppressed. So, like if you're restrained, like if you get knocked out or stunned.
I do have a question, because I maybe have too many magic items already, because I have I have the Pipe of the Sewers, and the Stone of Good Luck, and the Instrument of the Bard, which is already 3 things. So if it needs to be attuned, maybe I can't do it.
well, are those other items attuned?
Yeah, I think they're all attuned.
But do you really need the pipe? Like,
Not necessarily. I mean, maybe I can let it go. I think it's neat. But for role play.
Honestly, I am okay if we strike the attunement requirement from the pipes. Just
Okay.
It's just not on the power level of other things that require attunement.
That's so weird because my pipes don't.
Yeah, there's
And how much is that, Drad, in the cloak?
plus. Okay, yeah. So assuming we can afford it, let's see.
I forget the conversion of plat. Is it 100 or 10 to 1?
10 plat is one. Sorry, 10 gold is one plat.
Okay.
Backwards. Yeah, it is 10 to 1.
And I did buy those 6 normal healing potions too, so everyone just add 1 normal healing potion to your inventory. We'll just... How many people are there?
6.
Okay, that works out then.
It would be 3250 for the cloak.
3250. I have. I don't have enough. Right.
Should offer to perform a song.
Let's say. In I will let you uniquely to try to haggle. I don't like. I usually set the prices based on what they would actually take for them, assuming that would be the agreed upon price. But you're unique. You're uniquely different than a normal person trying to haggle.
Okay.
Make them roleplay it though. Make them do it live.
I'm the worst haggler in real life. Have you ever? Absolute worst.
Yeah, same.
How do you not? Do you not understand increments? Or you're like,
I will allow you to make a persuasion roll with disadvantage.
isn't persuasion int?
No, that's
No,
charisma.
charisma.
Oh, okay. Dude, whoa!
Oh, that was an 18.
I
You
thought
got
it was
fucking
2
plus
twos.
12. Fuck you.
Very persuasive.
That 18 plus 12 would have been disgusting.
Yeah.
Here,
Oh my god.
I'll roll it for you. Don't worry. Boom.
3,200 even, and that's the best he can do.
Okay.
Oh, but we do have those emeralds.
Yeah. Do we?
The small rubies too.
Oh yeah, let me
And we have this cursed sword and chainmail armor.
Yep. As long as everyone gets their equal share.
I'm okay with selling some gear to get if one person needs something.
What are we getting fancy again? An instrument?
Cloak of displacement.
Ew. No, you don't need that.
So he doesn't get hit so much.
Maybe you should get better at dodging.
I know.
So we have 500 gold worth of rubies and 1,000 gold worth of emeralds.
I have.
By the way, I don't care. I was just being silly.
Calc.
No, you were being Weldon.
My books are cooked.
I have. I only have 1,366 gold. I guess silver is 10 to 1 2 or whatever. 10 silver per one.
Mm-hmm.
Plus 11. Yeah, so I have 1,377 if I spend all the way down to 1 silver.
1,500 from the emeralds. If everybody's cool with that, I'm fine with it. But
Hey man, you're a bard. You can make do with no money. All right.
That puts us at 2,877.
Mm-hmm.
maybe I don't know. I think we have to let them know the sword is cursed. Some people may be into that. I don't know, but
No, it's just a magically imbued sword.
we're not going to go. We were so good up until the.
So
Yeah, how much
So what
will
are
they
what are we going to
give us for
offer
this
else in
sword?
addition to that? To this.
so the gems, all of my money except for 1 silver, the longsword of vengeance, and the Gloomrot chainmail. He's thinking about it.
You can keep the cursed sword, but I'll give you 600 for the armor.
Okay, that gets us to 3477, and I think I need what, 3500 or 30?
32.
Oh, we're good. I can keep 277 gold then.
No. You
What?
can put
No,
the 200 in the party,
in the
and
party. Okay.
everybody else can split it.
Can I put it in the party directly?
I don't know.
All right, I'm getting rid of my gold.
I'll delete the emeralds and rubies.
270 is the difference. I'll just put it in the. And there's a cloak of displacement. In the party sheet.
Thank you, sir.
We'll have to figure out how to make an effect for that we can add and remove pretty easily.
Okay.
Based on the conditions. I don't know how to do that offhand, but I'm sure there's a way.
Val, would you take that other potion of greater healing?
Yeah.
You scout ahead a lot, so it might be more handy for you.
So I imbued my shield, so now when things hit me, I can send them fucking flying.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Fancy, go hit him.
All
We got to test this out before
And
battle.
then 15 feet back.
Come on, Fancy. We just let you know the go. You can help the rabbit here.
It's like, yeah, touching that live wire won't hurt you.
I'm sure. I feel like you guys, Fancy would trust you, you know. So
It's Fancy or Farva.
what is
I
Farva?
got an old man wheezing laugh right now.
From Super Troopers.
Kinda. I mean, he means well. In the end, he's good.
All right, so we've bought a few things. Is there anything else we would like to be looking for? Scouring about?
Oh man, I wish I thought about this more. I forgot we was coming to the town.
I want to know if I can get some more patches for my cloak. If there's anyone selling little patches.
Oh, for your
Specifically like a mirror or things that were metal in nature.
for the mundane items.
Yeah.
Yes, actually, there is someone that's not a small undertaking, so necessarily to modify an already existing magical item. But in this case, the patches can be added. Let's see here. What do we got? For any kind of regular mundane item that is, it's like there's no real size restriction on it, but there is a value restriction on it. As long as it's worth no more than 25 gold, and not a healing potion. Well, that which is 50 anyway. So as long as it's worth no more than 25 gold, then someone will be willing to add the magical patches at 5 gold apiece. You can get as many as, let's see, how many patches has you got on there? You had like 20 something patches, so I think you could probably get another 15 more at max on the robe.
So there's not any like certain kinds that this person already has. I just have to think of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, mundane items that you might, think of if you want metal. It didn't have to be like a refined item, like the steel mirrors already kind of formed and function. If you wanted small steel sheets or something, or if you wanted if you want some kind of mundane item, we can add it to the robe.
Okay, I'll have to think on it.
Mm-hmm. Up to 15 of them.
Okay.
And they can be all the same item or any combination of whatever. I think one of your like size isn't a limiting factor on here as to what item can be put in a patch. So yeah, I think one of your patches is what, a cart. Like a, you have like a.
Shh. But yes.
You're like a magician pulling out tied together handkerchiefs.
Yep. I mean, yeah. I got some big stuff. I got some little stuff.
Absolutely. Okay. Anyone else looking for anything?
No, I think we're good.
I think I'm pretty good.
Can anybody tell me about the climate of the place that we're gonna go?
If you do a history check, for skill wise, you may already know or can infer enough about what you know or have read. There, you've never been there, but along the western coast of that continent, very similar to like how, say, Great Britain is warmer than its how far north it is would suggest, because of the ocean currents that come across it. It is the northern edge of, and some of the, especially the northeastern edge. It's actually frigidly cold on those. There's like little bits of ice along the waters and that sort of thing. It's not quite Arctic Circle all year round kind of deal, but it's definitely cold enough that ice will form on their coastline, on the eastern coastline. But most of the middle of the continent is actually, especially the further west you go, is actually rather temperate, despite being as far north as it is. The eastern shores of the continent to the west of the Kragan continent is actually a lot more icy than most of Erden is. Just because of the way the warm water flows from the middle of the world.
And is it mountainous or flat plains or?
It is along the southern edge. Is just the ending is like a lot of foothills. It's because it's the end of a string of mountain ridge, and so it in the southern parts there's a bit of rolling hills that kind of leads to a lot more flat area across the north. It looks a lot like a cross between swampland mixed with just regular temperate woods across most of the middle of it. And then on the edges, it's a lot like it's real flat on the northern edge. And it is unnaturally dark.
I know we've jumped around a bit and we're doing the shopping and stuff. I would want to ask, before we head off, Eliana and Nalar about what are the diplomatic relations between like Kanos and Erden right now. Who are there countries, cultures that the people of Erden don't like? Who's friends, enemies, that type of thing?
Yeah. So we can talk about how they would respond to that a little bit. The just as a whole, they're not known to be jovial people at all. I mean, compared to their brethren, they are happy-go-lucky as it gets. But compared to most of the other populaces of Ralidar, they are still rather somber at best. And so generally their attitude is kind of they're often kind of neutral. They're not complete isolationists like Einar are, but they mostly keep to themselves. And so the generally speaking, like politically, it's neutral. They're not gung-ho about forming any alliances or doing anything, in kind of garnering of world peace or acting together for some other country or anything like that. They're open to trade. They're not completely standoffish, but they're also not very receptive.
Well, neutral's good. I'm just digging, just trying to just getting an idea of what we're getting into.
Okay, I can't figure anything out. I think what we want is the ability to just add dodge and then just remove dodge when we know it turned off, and that should do it because dodge makes every attacker have disadvantage.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't
Yep.
drag dodge into this effect.
No, we might have to write it because it does recognize. Well, I don't know if dodge works too because I think dodge also gives you advantage on reflex saves, which is not the full scope of that. So, like I said, I think I need to look at that. Might be at face value for the attacking thing working, but I think that also. Yeah, I think we can. I think I'll have to look at. I think I need to look at that a little further.
Okay, I have a space reserved for you to clean up the mess I made.
Okay. Okay. Let me clean up all these dodges for a starter.
I tried.
That's like Daffy Duck. Duck dodge parry.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious. Okay, well, is there anything else you'd like to ask of Ileana and LR before they get you set up to make the journey there?
I'm assuming part of the setup will be telling us who we're meeting and where.
Who? Oh, there's no who.
Okay.
Unless you mean like unless you mean your transport.
Yeah. Like,
What's the main city? What town, city will we be going to?
There's a couple of harbor cities along the edge, but it's been like your final destination, especially given the size of the circle on the map. It's not entirely known, so you'll have to
figure it out. When we get
seek
there.
out what you find. Yeah.
Okay.
I think. I'll go ahead, Wolfen.
No, just
So this would be not necessarily a heist in that kind of sense, but the fact finding and trying to figure out will be a necessary component.
I suppose I'm looking at the group. We'll be going under the guise of adventurers looking for work. I don't know. Figure more of that out on the way there, I suppose. Val, have you ever been to Erden?
No, I've heard it mentioned in passing over the years since I came to Ralidar, but not made my way there.
Are dialects different? Would you be able to pass as someone from Erden? I guess I'm asking.
I couldn't say until I
Fancy
went
can
there.
for sure.
I
Definitely.
guess I'm asking Naylor and Eliana that.
I think that their response would be very similar. That they've treated with a few of those from Erden, but none from the actual Shadowfell itself. So they don't have a basis of comparison. They have strange ways, and their land is a bit strange as they keep it in unnatural darkness. But I don't have a basis of comparison for only the stories of the other place and what we know about in books. I guess like Val's originally from the Shadowfell, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Yeah, I mean that's
when he speaks common, does he speak it in a way that like when in his actual speech that comes through, does it sound any different than most people speaking common? Is there anything different or strange about it, or unique about it, I guess?
Probably depends on the weekend, but no, not intentionally. No.
Yeah. They can say that there has been a measure of eloquence in the way that they speak in Erden. Usually above the typical for those stations. You go to your average dock worker here, and even in the enlightenment that is Kanos, and you'll find some rather raw tongues, not as common.
Well, you said, I guess I'll make sure I'm understanding. You did say there's no love lost between those of the Shadowfell and the Shatterkai and the Erden, but is there animosity between the two?
Uh, Existentially, yes. I mean, especially for the other direction, there was much animosity. They have left both the teachings and the embrace of uh, the Raven Queen and Char, for those that worship her, which is very counterculture to them. And so they deliberately left to be away from that. And so that can't be good. So the Shatterkai do not think kindly at all towards them. And for the other direction, it probably depends. There may be some that left it behind them, and so they don't think a lot of it. Or there'll be some that maybe hold some resentment. And probably everywhere in between. There could also be, the occasional agent that is there. Or the, there could be people that came for other reasons that still have loyalties and find some kind of besmirching to the fact that they had to leave, their place behind for one reason or another. But it's not prevalent.
I'm just skimming through the Erden document that's on the.
Mm-hmm. While I guess we're probably coming to pretty close to a close to the session here for today. Probably end with us being seen off, kind of deal. So, it is possible that maybe we think of some questions or things that would be prudent that you can feel free to ask, and then we can try to resolve as we start the next. As we kind of start the next session, if there's something you can think about, but we've decided to go the route of going to Erden. They're going to put you on a ship. We're going to head there over... ships travel much faster than the walking that we had to do overland to get here. So it's still a few days, several days of travel to get over there. By several, I mean like more than a week by boat. We'll see what it looks like when we get there, and then when you do, try to figure out. It'll be kind of up to you to figure out how you find your quarry or figure out what's going on. Like I said, at the moment, no one seems to really know, other than the fact that there's a big mark on that map. What could be the problem there, or what is it? A portal? Is it something else? Is it we don't know. It seemed important enough to them.
Good.
Are we leaving in the morning, or are we leaving very soon?
They could have you off as early as tomorrow, but you don't have to leave tomorrow.
Tomorrow's probably good, but if we're done with this part, I don't know if we want to do this now or not, but I look over to Fancy is like, Fancy, I told you when we got out of that place, I'd let you sing as loud as you could. I have a place I want to take you.
Excellent.
And I take everyone if they follow me. Val's gonna hate it, but I'm gonna take him anyway. To the Star and Saber.
Is it a brothel?
It is a bar and tavern.
Not a brothel.
I don't know if there's brothel stuff that happens there or not, to be honest. I didn't see that in the notes. I can't ask the person right now. Yeah, it was.
Unofficially.
Chatty.
I mean, it doesn't have to be like a pimp style brothel. It could be a, you know.
There's ladies of the evening there.
I tell Fancy it's a respectable place. I've been kicked out of there 2 or 3 times. And despite how I sound IRL, like Dagan is a bit more chipper. I don't know. He's home. He just did a bunch of good, so he's feeling pretty okay. If we're ever here for more than a couple days, I can take y'all to my actual home and introduce you to all of my friends.
Oh, I have an actual one.
Would you want to do that?
Would you really? You would take Fancy home to your parents?
No, not my parents.
You got a secret family, got kids.
Oh no, I don't. But my Kip and Janice, I'll just tell you about that. My 2 best friends, we all operate a farm, and some of the booze that we've been drinking is made from our materials from our farm. Badland Brews.
You carry yourself very well for a farmer.
I ran from it, and it eventually circled right back around. Kind of a silent partner now.
Don't sound too silent about it to me.
I brought Val to meet them before. I don't think you liked it, but I brought him.
That was an experience. Speaking of which, Weldon, I've known many druids in my days, and they all usually have to move out of their wild shape form. I've noticed that you've stay in yours all the time, even when you rest.
There's nothing behind the rabbit. I am the rabbit.
He's not even a druid.
You're a rabbit.
I'm rabbit-like. Like, you see, minotaurs aren't bulls, but they resemble bulls, right?
Yeah,
I am
yes.
like a
that's
rabbit.
right. You better believe it.
Well, I apologize. I just assumed you were a druid that really liked the were-rabbit form.
Is there a rabbit form? Look at the ball.
I think there can be
Dire
a form of
bunny?
any
Dire
Any-
bunny.
animal you want.
Dire bunny. But you look like a real bunny. You wouldn't look like a me bunny. You wouldn't wear boots.
Dagon's trying to think all
I
the
mean, haven't you ever seen Puss in Boots? As a cat that wears boots, I think you could be a bunny that wears boots.
I have never seen a cat wear boots anywhere in this universe. Show me. Make it happen.
I'm gonna need a enchanted scroll to write Antonio Banderas. Give me a sec.
Come back out of your changing room as a cat wearing boots.
I have not yet assumed a animal shape.
No, you haven't actually used any of your.
I haven't.
What are you gonna choose?
I don't know how it works, so it's one of the reasons I haven't done it.
May I recommend not Dire Bunny?
Yeah, probably not the strongest use of that ability.
Yeah. I thought about it, like, owlbear or something like that, but
Always a yes.
I
Almost
didn't do
never
it.
no.
Do you have concerns that when shapeshift you may be overtaken by some level of belligerence or bloodlust that would come innately with the beast that you transform into that would overcome your usual sense of pacifism?
Yeah, I didn't want to hurt anybody. I just wanted to scare them. So
Well, perhaps Dire Bunny would be the correct choice.
What if you slap them with love?
slapping implies violence.
Okay, what if they like the pain?
I mean, I think Ileana's doing a little slapping up there.
Yeah, what was with that, Fancy? You thought that he was enchanted because he was what? Why?
I mean, he was getting manhandled. He wasn't doing the manhandling, which is weird for Fancy.
I
So
see. But you were hitting on her, and or wanted
I mean,
to
he
be.
did give me the "I'm gonna kill you" look. So Fancy read that immediately. He's seen that hundreds, thousands of times.
Well, yeah, I know. I've saved you from that thousands of times.
But you would be killed by like a demigod, so someone would write songs about that.
Somebody's got to help us make our server work so that we can play this game together. Please, please, please.
That was out of.
Yeah, that's right.
Super out of
I
character.
can't
Whoa.
pretend that to happen.
What?
And
Yeah. I guess so. I think I introduced where I'm from at the beginning. I can't pull up the map, so I would inform Val that I'm kind of related to the Fae in a way. Yeah.
Yeah, he's from the land of the unicorns and the rainbows and the,
Special creatures.
prawns.
Yeah.
so we make it to the bar.
That's what we're calling it these days. Magic.
A lot of good conversation on the way.
That's a great bar name, by the way. Magic mushroom. Just say.
Magic mushroom.
Oh, you here to meet up with your party? Cliche much? Oh, you look parched.
We are definitely thirsty.
I mean, we are gonna be on a boat for a bit.
This will be better than the seawater.
Yeah, you can't drink seawater.
Debatable.
Can't help but recognize that the six of us are becoming something more than the mercenary group that we originally started as.
Huzzah!
Huzzah! Look out, she's running at you.
I would, as we get to the bar, someone at the door I would like to talk to. Any official, worker there. So I want to get Zeb on stage, or Fancy. Jeez.
Oh, that's good. We need some money.
All right, put out a hat.
This is your time, Fancy. Go do it.
Okay.
Yeah, Fancy needs money. Yeah. Yeah. I don't even.
And there's his performance roll.
There's persuasion.
Oh, that's not even the right one.
Yeah, you're trying to persuade us as your performance role. You probably did a
you're
good job.
persuading people to tip you.
Ah, there we go.
So will you regale them with a tale, dance a jig, sing a song?
Yeah, I tell them
Yes,
about the they tried to kill us, we survived, let's eat. Da, da, da. I tell them that story about how we lived.
I after his performance is over, I cheer and clap really loudly to encourage everyone, which they should already be doing that anyway. But
Val's going to approach Amaros right as soon as Fancy heads to the stage. How did you come by this fellow?
Well, it happened in a place not so dissimilar to this one, actually. And I think I was kind of there, and nobody really wanted to mess with me, being, you know, I am what I am. And but they weren't chasing me out of town, which was first for a while. So I was just kind of like in the corner, minding my own business, and Fancy was in here and in the bar or whatever, and then the next thing I know, the mayor's coming after him because apparently Fancy slept with his wife, and that was the wrong guy to cuckold. Uh, and they were gonna. I mean, he was in a state about to be hanged, I think. So I stepped in and rescued him, and then he was. I don't know. He seemed to think that he uh adopted me for his, I don't know, personal protection or something, but really I just wanted to make sure he didn't die early. Seems to get into a lot of trouble on his own, so
That's what I find most intriguing. That someone like yourself, a physically imposing figure who seeks such a pacifist living, you've tethered yourself to an individual who's going to bring you nothing but conflict,
Grand
basically.
adventure.
I mean, conflicts, yes, but most conflicts can be handled without violence, which is my aim. If I can bring a little bit more peace to this world by, handling the conflicts that one individual seems to accumulate rather quickly, then I'll be doing my job and maybe make up for some of the violence that surrounded me as a child.
You are an honorable man, Amaros. I'd like to help you with that venture. Hope you never have to raise a blade against another.
I will never force you to attack someone.
I appreciate your understanding.
I'll tackle them for you.
Did you take a vow for the nonviolence? Any like?
Good question.
Not anything official. Just saw
Not
enough
really.
violence that made me never want to be a part of it.
Were you like a gladiator or something?
No.
A bouncer at the local gambling den.
No.
Oh.
I took a one of my first, I guess, official paths. I attempted to redemption. It's similar to that, but it's a hard path to walk. I think it's the hardest path to walk, and you do so well at it. It's very amazing.
Well, it's easier when you feel like any moment you one step towards violence will take you over and completely, I don't know, grab you in its grips. It's not a path I ever want to take.
I don't think Dakin necessarily says anything to that, but you see he relates to that. So,
All the while, Fancy's still regaling stories and singing songs and dancing jigs on the stage.
Hopefully getting Bokus of tips.
time comes at the end of the performance to pass the hat around.
I throw a platinum in there.
With the platinum, that is the only platinum in the hat. That's a rare and mighty tip indeed. But from the loose coinage, the platinum brings it all the way up to 100 gold worth of tips across the entirety of the establishment.
I put a carrot in there.
A half-eaten carrot.
No, buddy, don't eat carrots. Will not fall in the stereotypes.
Fancy has. You can see that his spirits are lifted. He's in his element, and he's just crazy enjoying himself and just happy to be alive, kind of himself here.
I make sure to pass him a beer.
They have not had an entertainer of such quality in some time.
Dagan, would you look at that?
Mhm.
I think we actually just saw the real Fancy.
Oh. I just kind of smile at that.
And, he has some uses.
Prepare to